Instructional Services, Onslow County Schools Summer Institute, August 12 through 14, 2013. Thomas A. Edison once said, "Inspiration can be found in a pile of junk. Sometimes you can put it together with a good imagination and invent something."
In March of this year, I attended the Collaborative Conference for Student Achievement. The focus of the conference was engaging North Carolina in transforming 21st century teaching and learning. As I was driving home, I began to think about the challenge of transforming teaching and learning and what might that look like. I wondered, what does positive transformation look like? First, I looked for an example in the field of education. Unfortunately, there were none. Then I looked to the field of business. I found this definition. In an organizational context, transformation is a process of profound and radical change that orients an organization in a new direction and takes it to an entirely different level of effectiveness. With this definition in mind, I looked for a model or good example, one that sustained the test of time. I quickly discovered that the General Electric Company was that model. Interestingly, the General Electric Company began business just about the time public education was being formalized in North Carolina.
About 1890, the General Electric Company bought the electric light bulb from Thomas Edison. At about the same time, each North Carolina county had a public school, one for each race. GE began producing small home appliances, such as electric fans and toasters. At about the same time, North Carolina added 1,100 schools. The General Electric Company developed something called Selson controls that allowed the Panama Canal to open. Meanwhile, North Carolina passed Compulsory Attendance Act. A plane equipped with a GE supercharger set a new world altitude record, reaching 40,800 feet. In North Carolina, the General Assembly authorized city school districts. The first woman awarded a PhD in physics was hired by GE. Catherine Burr Blodgett went on to invent something called invisible glass. It was used to improve cinematography in Gone with the Wind. The North Carolina General Assembly decided to provide free textbooks for elementary school students. A General Electric scientist developed a process known as cloud seeding. In education, the North Carolina school year became 9 months long and the compulsory attendance age moved from 14 to 16. GE opened the world's first licensed nuclear power plant. Even though the United States Supreme Court upheld Brown versus Board of Education, the North Carolina General Assembly initially opposed desegregation and passed the Parcel Plan to provide for gradual integration of schools. Astronaut Neil Armstrong took his first step on the moon wearing boots made from GE silicone rubber. During the same time period, North Carolina added kindergarten. At the same time, the Education for All Handicapped Children Act was passed. General Electric introduced a computed tomography scanner, now called a CT scan. to produce cross-section X-rays. In education, a federal court ordered busing to ensure school integration. To commemorate the Statue of Liberty's 100th anniversary, GE Lighting provided the products and funding to relight this national treasure. Meanwhile, the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction opened the School of Science and Mathematics. At about the same time, the testing and accountability movement began. GE designed and produced the Mars Observer. It also launched the first website for a Fortune 500 company outside of the computer industry, and reached deeper into the home, launching CNBC and MSNBC. North Carolina began the Smart Start program to improve school readiness began. Remember the Y2K scare? Ooh! Ah! Since Y2K, the General Electric Company's innovation and transformation exploded, GE developed an all-digital X-ray cardiovascular imaging system, the world's first 4D ultrasound system, a product called StreetLab, the world's first hybrid locomotive prototype, which was built in the U.S. and assembled from a kit in China, and the Energy Smart LED bulb, the first omnidirectional LED bulb. During those same years, education gave us something called Nickel-B, or No Child Left Behind, expanding the federal government's role in NC education. And more recently, North Carolina was one of 12 states to receive 2010 federal Race to the Top grants.
General Electric's motto is imagination at work. As you have seen, GE put their imagination to work, transforming their company. Not just once, but many times over. How does GE sustain success? By taking on significant developmental assignments, taking on bold new projects. By passionately studying their industry, learning fast and learning deep, and making it their passion. And by focusing on a deliberate practice. The question now is, will you take the challenge to take on bold new projects, to passionately study your industry, and to focus on deliberate practice? Will you take
The challenge
to transform
your instruction
your classroom,
your school,
your district?
this system?
It's pointless, said reason.
It's risky, said experience.
It's impossible, said pride.
Give it a try, whispered the heart.
So as you attend the Onslow County Summer Institute, challenge yourself
And have fun!
Woo!